Hey guys, it's Destiny, and in today's video, we are going to be going over our 4-star tier list for today. And just as a quick reminder, this tier list is meant for fun, and if you guys disagree with anything, I am all for respectful conversation in the comments down below. Before we get started though, of course, I am going to be using mobilemeta.gg again, and this is a website I like using for Honkai Star just to look over characters, which you can look at character kits. If you click on them, you can go through what they do. They also have a wish counter if you just want to have a bit of fun with that. They have a team comp maker where you can drag in, make your little team comps. And then you can also do the tier list, and they have their own tier list. Then you have the tier list maker, and I separated it this time for DPS, healer and shielder, buffer and debuffer. Additionally, of course, this video as well is sponsored by mobilemeta.gg, so thank you very much for that. So as I stated, we will be having DPS, healer and shielder, and buffer and debuffer in 3 separate categories. I did get feedback from my last tier list and was told it's kind of unfair to rank the buffers or debuffers or the shielders and healers equally with each other, or even the DPS, since they're all different roles, and I agreed with that. So in today's video, we're going to be doing it like this. I do have S, I have A minus. A minus is just slightly lower than A. So let's just get straight into it. Now, I wanted to begin with Don Hung, since he is one of our free-to-play characters. I would put him in S tier. The reason why I personally think he is S tier is because of how his kit works and how much damage output and potential he has. Don Hung is a free-to-play character, as I've stated. You get him very early on in the game. He's also part of the wind element, which is pretty rare right now. So that is also a bonus as of right now of this tier list. And what Don Hung is able to do is when he crits with his skill, then he will slow down the enemies. This is really good because if you slow down an enemy, then you'll be able to possibly go before the enemy does in that turn order, which allows you to attack basically 2 times before the enemy can attack you. Another cool thing that he has is his ultimate. His ultimate does a damage multiplier depending if the enemy is slowed. So this is a really good combo, because what you could do with Don Hung is kind of like a crit build where you primarily build a bunch of crit damage, and he just goes to town with his skill and his ultimate and just does a bunch of damage. So for a free-to-play character especially, I think he has really good potential to be really strong in this game. Now let's go over our next S tier, which is Shushang. I believe I pronounced that correctly. She is a character who, in my opinion, is really good because, in my opinion, she's kind of like a mini Zila. The reason why I say this is because when she uses her ultimate, it summons this Phoenix. What she's able to do with the Phoenix is essentially advance her turn order by 100%. Which means because she's advancing her action forward, she's immediately able to go again. She also has her sword stance, which does little ticks against enemies and is overall very powerful. She's a very powerful DPS. I used her a lot in beta, and now I'm using her also in full release, and she has been pretty good. Next up, we have our gambler girl. I always forget how to say her name. I literally watched a video on how to say it, but I can never remember how to say it, and I hate it. But I would probably either put her in S or A. I think she's actually really strong if you use her correctly. So if I'm thinking of this correctly, she has a way to basically get 4 tiles, and when she gets 4 tiles, they may be random suits. What you want to do with a character like her is you want all your suits to be matching. What I personally like about her is that her ultimate allows all her suits that she's currently holding to be matching suits, which basically means that now when she uses her skill or her attack, it is enhanced. So now it's doing a bunch more damage than it was originally. So she has a way to self buff herself, and there is a way to guaranteed get all matching cards or tiles rather. So I would honestly say she's not that bad at all when you do get her going in the right way. So she's either S for me or she's A. I do think that she's a pretty cool Erudition character, and I do think she is slept on a bit. Actually, I will just put her in A, but I definitely think she has S potential. It just depends on her build and so on, but I think she can actually be really good, especially if you use her ultimate after you have the 4 tiles. Now we have Hook. Hook, in my opinion, is probably A minus. Hook is actually really good. I used Hook to beat Simulated Universe 4. Hook is a pretty good fire character, especially if you don't have Himiko. Granted, if you do have Himiko, I personally do not see too much of a use for Hook, but that's just my personal opinion. because I would rather use the Himiko than the Hook. But Hook is really good for burning, and her DOT overall is pretty nice. The only thing that I guess I wish she kind of did was maybe a little more. Her Eidolons definitely power her up, but if we're just looking at a base Hook, she's just kind of alright in my opinion. She's still really good. I mean, as I said, I cleared World 4 with her, so she definitely has her potential. But in comparison to these 3 characters up here, I feel like their damage output is better. And if we're just looking at this from a DPS standpoint, I feel like these 3 characters are really powerful. Now we have Serval. Serval is either it's hard to say because I feel like Serval and Hook can probably be equal because the DOT, except Serval is Erudition, but in my opinion, I would probably bump up Serval to A alongside Gambler Girl. The reason why I say Serval is over Hook is because Serval is Erudition, so if you think about it in an AoE aspect, I feel like Serval is really good at breaking those toughness meters. At least for me, she's been able to do that. She's been pretty good. And Shock is also a really nice touch, but I just feel like Serval is a pretty good character as well, and her Shock is really beneficial, especially when you're getting it off and you're able to break those weakness meters. Serval is pretty nice, especially against that one big guy. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about, but there's one enemy and he always summons bombs, and like when I fight the bombs, they're usually weak to, you know, electric, so Serval's been pretty good for that purpose. Or lightning, rather. I don't know why I said electric. Lightning. She's been pretty good. So I would probably put these 2 equal. Gambler Girl needs, like, you know, to do the ultimate, but she is really powerful. Also, she is Quantum, so that's really good. Serval is Lightning, but she is also free to play as well, and she does pretty good things as well. Now we have Arlen. Arlen, I genuinely don't know. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, I genuinely don't know, because in beta, I had a theory also with EO, we would talk about Arlen quite a bit, that Arlen has a potential to like either be really like up here or he's just kind of down here. It just depends how his kit works, but I haven't seen anyone really crack the code on Arlen yet, and I haven't myself either, because Arlen is good in the case of teams that are skill point hungry because he does not consume skill points. Granted, I don't believe he gains skill points either, so it's kind of a draw in a way, but he could possibly work with Zila because of that. If you just want to use another DPS character that doesn't consume skill points, then Zila is the one consuming everything. But Arlen is either like, I'm telling you, he's either up here or he's like down here, and I actually don't know because it's just, I feel like nobody's fully cracked the code on him yet because he sacrifices his health to do more damage. But Percy, I don't know like what the restrictions are, rather his limitations. Like, I know that he can gain up to, I think, 100% of the HP loss or something like that, but it just makes me wonder, so do you just build a bunch of HP, kind of like Hu Tao? Like, is he the Hu Tao of this game? But then there's like a character like Blade, which Blade seems more like he'll be the Hu Tao of this game than Arlen. So I'm not 100% sure about Arlen. Please in the comments let me know if you guys use Arlen, where would you put him? But for right now, I would probably put Arlen in like B+ or B. I'm just gonna put him in B+ because the skill point thing is definitely beneficial. That's definitely something unique to Arlen, and Arlen can still do his own damage regardless of cracking the code or not. He still can do that. So that is a benefit that Arlen does have, which maybe he could be up here because of that. But I'm just leaving him in here. Once again, I don't know about this one. You guys would have to let me know because Arlen's a little mysterious to me, if I'm being honest. All right, for our last DPS, we have Herta. Herta. Honestly, it's hard to say. I might have to put Herta in A as well. Herta might be a bit of a hot take. Maybe this whole list so far is a hot take, but I think Herta is actually pretty good. The reason why I say this is because she has her follow-up attacks, which you may just be thinking, oh, it's just follow-up attacks, but follow-up attacks can be really good for breaking those weakness meters pretty well. You compare her with a character like Himiko, and you just are in follow-up attack like heaven, basically. Like, I feel like Herta is really good for that purpose. She's also ice, and she can do her own amount of damage. She's not a bad character, in my opinion. And if we're going to go along with, like, what these other 2 do, Serval mainly does erudition damage with her DOT. Herta does erudition damage with her follow-up attacks. And Gambler Girl just does erudition damage while being quantum, as well as having a potential to do a lot of damage. So I feel like in a way they can all kind of be equaled up in a sense, because they all require, I feel like, something to get them fully going in a sense. While these 2 characters just kind of do it, in my opinion. Like Don Hung, he can slow enemies just by the crit, and now his ultimate is just buffed up. Sushang, she just needs to use her ultimate, and now she has more sword stand stacks guaranteed, and she's also able to just do a lot of damage. She's a really strong character, in my opinion. So these two, while they are single target DPSs, if I were to put one character, possibly an S from Erudition, it would probably be obviously one of these three. I'm not too sure who I'd bump up because they all have something unique to them that I feel like allows them to be a really good character. Hook is really good. I feel like she is slept on, but she kind of just has her own issues, I guess. I just feel like in the grand scheme of things, Hook is great, but I feel like there are better options when it comes to team compositions. And Arlen, I just don't know. Once again, I need someone to help me out with this one. Like, he's either up here or he's down there. Like, he's either B plus or he's like S. I don't know. Okay, now for healer and shielders. This will be really quick. March 7th, in my opinion, S. The reason why she's S is because shields are really freaking good in this game. Now, I feel bad for my 5-star tier list because I feel like I made a little bit too much of a hot take. So I wasn't like, I don't know. I would change some things now that I thought about it a little more. But for our 4-star tier list here, March 7th is S tier because, in my opinion at least, her shields are really good. The taunting is pretty good. Pair her with someone like Clara. I think that could be really good as well. Because if you put the shield on Clara, now Clara has additional taunt. And now Clara will also be able to, you know, counter attack freely. And then when she gets attacked, because she's always taunting, now that there's more taunt, March 7th will also follow up attack on them. So in a way, it's pretty good in my opinion that this combo can work. And March 7th also has a trace that allows her to remove the debuffs on allies, which basically means that she's also able to cleanse with her shield. I know a lot of people are running March 7th and Natasha because cleansing and shields, but March 7th can actually cleanse in her traces. So that's a benefit that she has. Now for Natasha, Natasha's either also S or A, but personally, I feel like March has a bit more potential than Natasha. Not by an insane amount, but if we think about the cleanse, a lot of people use Natasha, you know, as their healer and cleanser. Natasha is amazing. Actually, you know, I'll put them equal. On my list, I'll put them equal, but if I were to knock Natasha here to A, I would fully do that as well. But Natasha is able to heal, so if you rather do the heal playstyle, you have Natasha. If you rather do the shield playstyle, you could do March. But personally, I think March is a bit better because she's able to shield and cleanse. Natasha can't overheal like a character like Bailu, so when you heal, you're just healing what you lost with Natasha, which means that you have to take damage before Natasha can heal you because, you know, that's how healers operate. But with March, you could just shield right away, so you don't even have to take damage in a sense. So with that kind of logic, I feel like March is a bit better. And if you want to use the cleansing as a counter argument, I would just say that March also has cleansing. So it just depends. But in a case where you don't want whoever's shielded to be taunted, like you don't want, let's say it's your DPS character, you don't want them to be taunted, then what you would do is you would probably opt for Natasha instead. So in a team comp with Zila, you would rather probably use Natasha over March. So I will put them honestly both at S because they both have team comps that they do work better with. You can also use them together in one team comp if you really want to for increased sustainability, but they're both incredible free-to-play characters, and I do believe they are worthy of S because of what they provide to team comps. Now we have our buffers and debuffers. We're almost done, guys. Tingyun Tingyun S tier. The reason why she's S tier is she is so freaking good. She's able to buff your attack, and if you have a lightning character, she's able to buff your lightning damage. She's able to buff your energy regeneration rate. I believe with her ultimate, she basically gives you energy back, and she also buffs your damage. She's just so freaking good. Like, I feel like Tingyun is one of the best 4-star options, like, overall, because of how she can go on practically almost every team comp and really support your main DPS. And if you need energy regeneration on a shielder or a healer because you need emergency heals, you can literally use Tingyun's ultimate on them, and now they have a bunch of their ultimate back. So that's really good as well. Tingyun's just a really good character, and she's so good at supporting your allies. Pela is A. Pela is A only because of, well, 2 reasons, or maybe even 1 reason. I was originally going to put her in S, but the reason why Pela's A, and I love Pela, by the way, been using her with Zila, incredible. The reason why Pela's A though is because Pela has a bit of a flaw. Her only flaw, or her main flaw rather, is some enemies have basically resistances to debuffs to the point where you can't actually really debuff them, or you need a lot of effect hit rate, if I'm not mistaken, to actually debuff them. So with Pela, while I do believe she is S tier when she's able to, do her debuffs and pair them, remove their buffs, and all of that, she's really good for that purpose. And EO is kind of curious about this as well. And he tested it himself on the big dude I mentioned earlier, the one that summons the bombs. Can you actually like remove that buff from him when he's charging up, when he's like about to jump up and kind of like, I guess, sit on you? I don't know how to word that, but apparently he told me that you can't. Like, he tried it on mobile and it didn't seem to work, which was a bit of a letdown, as he told me. But either way, Pela is in the A tier because of that. But if she's able to do everything she can, I would probably bump her up to S. With that logic, though, when Pela is working and all of that as well, I would also say Asta is A tier. I feel like Tingyun is a bit better than both of these characters because of what Tingyun offers. She's just so incredible. And Asta is really good as well, though, because Asta is able to hit multiple enemies. And because she hits multiple enemies, she can be good for weakness breaking. Asta is also able to get stacks of attack on your allies. And she's also able to increase your speed, which speed can be really beneficial to have, as if you have enough speed, then you might be able to go twice in a turn order, which is also good. Now we have Shampoo, my favorite of them all. Shampoo is one of those characters that is so hit or miss. So I'm going to tell you guys how it is. Shampoo is either S tier on a DOT team, which means damage over time if you pair him with like Himiko, maybe Hook, maybe Serval. I think once Kafka's here though, Shampoo will definitely shoot up in the ranks. But him himself without, I feel like, I guess a DOT team, he's not the greatest. He would either be A- or honestly B+. I'm probably going to put him in the B+. Because in my opinion, I feel like Shampoo, once again, you need like Kafka or something. Now, if someone can like prove me wrong and like the Himiko comp or like the Serval comp is really, really powerful now, I'll take that as well and we can maybe bump him up. But I think, once again, with Kafka, he's up here. Without Kafka, or like at least here, this range. Without Kafka, he's more like this range for me. I hope that makes sense because I feel like Kafka like takes advantage of it, and Shampoo allows you, Shampoo, my bad. Shampoo allows you to do more damage to enemies that are inflicted, or rather lower the defenses of enemies, I believe, who are inflicted with DOT, while Kafka is able to do more damage against enemies with how much DOT are on enemies. So while Shampoo is wind and Kafka is lightning, now you can stack wind shear and also shock, which can be an amazing combo, and you can whittle down the HP of the enemy very, very quickly and efficiently with this combo. So with Kafka up here and SRA, without Kafka, right about here. I think that's fair to say. But yeah, here is my final tier list. Once again, notable mentions. Arlen, if someone knows the secret, let me know, because I'll believe you. Let me know with Arlen. With Sampo, I gave my piece with that one. Really, he's up here if he has Kafka. If not, he's probably about here. But if he works with Himiko or like Serval, let me know. Like if he works really, really good with them. If not, then we'll wait until Kafka. Hook is good, but she has, in a way, her own flaws. I feel like she doesn't provide as much as these characters do, at least in terms of damage. And I have played Hook, so I just feel like she was kind of underperforming compared to these characters, because I've also played these characters. But this is just personally what I think. And if you guys disagree with anything, let me know in the comments down below. Once again, this is for fun, and I'm all for engaging and, civil conversation about it. Is that this is for fun, and it's definitely my initial thoughts. I have been playing with the game, though, a good amount. I'm getting deeper and deeper in the levels, and I've been having fun with Forgotten Hall and Simulated Universe, and I have been able to play with practically all of these characters at this point. And that's where I formulate a lot of my thoughts, plus thoughts from the beta, since I did get to play some of the characters in there as well. Full release, got them to basically test them out even further. So yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button for more style content. I swear my channel is not just tier lists. I do a lot of guides and, just discussionary fun videos. But if you guys want more, make sure to subscribe, as I said. And I hope all of you have a nice one. Let me know your tier list in the comments down below. Additionally, if you want, join my Discord and share your own tier list. and I'll just have this website in the link or description rather, and you guys can go to that and just share your tier list in my Discord. Hope you all have a good one once again. Peace.